Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Chris Abbott, but all my friends just call me Abbo. And in this video, we're going to be talking about some of the challenges and obstacles that church leaders face whenever you're trying to achieve church growth, right? Ministry is messy, and we all know that, but I've learned a couple of things over the past 20 years as I've been in ministry. So I'm going to share with you a couple of my tips, and we're going to be specifically talking about what are the challenges of church growth coming up. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you are new to the channel, this channel is dedicated to helping pastors and church leaders be more effective with social media and church growth, and to provide practical resources and strategies in order to reach more people for Jesus. So what we're going to be doing in this video is just walking you through a couple of church growth principles that I've learned over the years, and then talking about some of the challenges and obstacles to that as well. So let's dive in. All right, number one, if you're not currently involved in the hardest thing you've ever done, then you're not growing. Now, I learned this kind of the hard way, right? I think as we're all in ministry, right, we know ministry can be tough. You're dealing with people, right? So while on one hand, it's one of the highest callings that we could ever have, at the same time, it's really, really tough to deal with people, and you have to kind of get down into the mess with them, right? So a lot of times, one of the things that is hard is we start to associate increase with pain, right? So we start to think, okay, well, if my church, if I'm maxed out at 80 people and I'm going to so many hospital visits and doing weddings and funerals and all this stuff with 80 people, if I double my church, I'll have twice the amount of people, which means twice the amount of work and twice the amount of pain, right? So what happens is, as much as we want to grow our church, we start to associate increase with pain, and this can hold us back, right? So we have to embrace the fact that if you're not currently involved with the hardest thing you've ever done, you're probably not growing, right? And so that means we have to continue to expand our capacity, right? And it's only at the edge of your ability that you begin to expand your capacity. So for example, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life was actually launching this YouTube channel, right? So I actually started this back in February of 2021, right? It was something that I really felt the Lord had been calling me to for a while, but it was hard, right? So I invested over $100,000 of my own money to launch this channel. I fly back and forth to the studio almost every month, and I shoot 40 videos at one time before I fly back to Tulsa and get to hang out with my family again, right? So it's been a massive sacrifice. It's been a massive commitment in order to do this, but it's also been one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done, right? So I get to create videos like this one and help church leaders like you with church growth and social media and technology, right? And the cool thing is I actually get stories all the time of people that are executing and using some of the strategies that we teach in these videos to reach more people for Jesus in their city. So that never gets old, and it's extremely fulfilling, but it's also really hard, right? But because I've embraced that and just know that, man, if I'm not currently involved with one of the hardest things I've ever done, then I'm probably not growing. So I've put myself in uncomfortable situations, and I've done over 200 YouTube videos because I went all in, and I knew that in order to expand my capacity, I would have to continue to play at the edge of my ability. For me, that was launching a YouTube channel. All right, number two, comfort is the currency you pay in exchange for massive growth. Now, I actually learned this from Taylor Welch of Traffic and Funnels, but this principle is so true. I think no matter who you are, no matter what type of a leader you are, if you want to grow, you're gonna have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. So I know when I was fresh out of college, I knew that I wanted to go into full-time youth ministry, right? And so one of the things that I looked around and just said, I think the best way to do that is to do a full-time ministry internship, right? But it was one of the hardest things I'd ever done up to that point. I mean, there was a physical element where we had to run all the time. We had mandatory workouts, right? There was a financial element where, because it was so involved, we weren't allowed to have jobs, right? But we still had to pay over $500 a month in order to be a part of the program. So we had to go out and find sponsors and find creative ways to make money, right? But we were also part of this incredible movement, this incredible internship, and we were doing like hands-on ministry, right, as a 22-year-old. And so because I decided to go all in and just give my life to this internship for 1 year, it completely transformed who I am as a person. In fact, I don't even know if I would have met my wife and ended up marrying her if it had not been for that program. While it was one of the hardest things I'd ever done in my entire life, it also had one of the most incredible payoffs that I've ever had in my entire life. So if we want to continue to be better leaders and be more effective, we just have to understand that comfort is the currency you pay in exchange for massive growth, and we have to go all in on expanding our capacity and growing. All right, number three, the best things in life require the most effort. Now, planning a church will be one of the hardest things you've ever done in your entire life, right? I've been a part of 4 different church plants, routinely have the opportunity to work with church plants every single day, right? And all of them tell me the exact same thing. It is hard to plan a church, but it's very rewarding, right? Seeing the light bulb go off when people get it, right? When people get saved for the first time, when they get baptized for the very first time, when they start to understand and engage in biblical community for the first time, and it's a game changer. Right? I think one of the things that we lose sight of is that every single day, 7,755 people die in the US every single day, and most of them don't have a relationship with Jesus. As a church planner, we get to come in and we get to absolutely minister to people. We get to reach the lost, and we get to see lives completely transformed. I have a friend of mine who recently planted a church, and his church was only running about 40 people when I first met him. But we actually came in and we helped him with a social media strategy in order to reach people within driving distance of his church. And he actually had 22 new people join his church in the first 3 weeks. Right? So, man, imagine that. Imagine launching your church, right? You're just kind of stuck at 40, and then all of a sudden you try a new social media strategy, people come pouring in the front door, and 22 of them join the church within the first 3 weeks. Man, the best things in life require the most effort, but they also have the biggest payoff. Right? When you see all these people flooding into your church, when you see life change happening, right? And you see people getting it, you see them dedicating their lives to the gospel for the very first time, nothing is better than that. Okay, before I get to my last 2 points, man, make sure to subscribe to this channel. We put out brand new videos and fresh content every single day, 5 days a week. And if you subscribe to the channel and then hit that little bell notification, you'll get notified every single time we drop a new video. All right, number 4, the only limitations you have are the ones inside your own head. Now, one of my favorite stories that kind of illustrates this principle is the stories of these guys who run mega marathons, right? So a mega marathon is basically 4 marathons back to back to back to back. I don't know why anybody would put themselves through that. That sounds awful. I don't like running to begin with, right? But for these people that put themselves through that, this is an amazing feat. So these guys are running over 100 miles. And I've heard that one of the things that happens is that your body begins to break down and give out around 80 to 85 miles, right? Whatever it is, something about the human body, right? The muscles and everything just begin to completely give out around 80 to 85 miles. And so what happens is there's a point in the race where your body completely goes out and doesn't work anymore. And that's when your mind takes over, and it's nothing but mental toughness that gets you the last little bit across the finish line for the last 15 or 20 miles. So what happens is a lot of these racers will actually go back to that point in the race where their body shut down and their mental toughness took over, and they'll take the laces out of their running shoes and they'll throw them up into the trees. So that way all the runners that come behind them will see the laces of all of the runners who have gone before them, and they'll understand as their body begins to shut down, they'll know that there were people that went before them who had the same thing happened, but they finished the race and threw their laces up into the trees. Right? And it gives them the encouragement that they need in order to keep going and to finish the race. We need to have that same mental toughness in ministry, right? We need to understand that people are going to leave the church. People are going to stab you in the back. People are going to talk bad and say things about you and about the church that are not true, right? But that's what we signed up for. We do hard things. It's important to understand the only limitations we have are the ones inside of our own head. Craig Rochelle says that limited resources are a breeding ground for innovation, and nobody is more innovative than church plants. Right? Because we've got a lot of limited resources, right? So let's embrace those and let's turn those things that appear to be limitations into our unfair advantage in order to reach more people for Jesus. All right, and finally, number 5, who, not how. The question isn't how do we navigate this new season of church growth? Instead, the question is, who do you need to become in order to navigate this new season, right? Because chances are, if you're hitting your head on the exact same growth barrier, and it doesn't matter what it is, right? If it's 50 people, 80 people, 100 people, or 100,000, it doesn't matter. What happens is we have to constantly be reinventing ourselves as leaders in order to go to the next level. And this is exactly what happens. The reason we get stuck, the reason we keep hitting our head on something is because it's not how, it's not a new strategy or tactic. It's not how do we navigate this new season. It's who do we need to become in order to navigate this new season and go to the next level. Because what you did to get you here won't get you there. So who do you need to become in order to go to the next level of church growth? All right, so if you like this video and you want to continue the conversation, you want to learn more about church growth and Facebook ads, plan your visit, social media technology, I want to encourage you guys. We have an awesome Facebook group. It's called the Church Marketers Facebook group. You can go to Facebook and simply search for the Church Marketers group, or you can click on the link in the description below. We've got tons of pastors and church leaders and an ongoing conversation talking about how we can reach more people for Jesus. So jump into that group. We'll see you soon.